Don't expect things to change at USCIS anytime soon. Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States, out of our offices in St. Louis, Missouri, San Diego, California, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. In today's video, we're going to talk about why things probably won't change much at USCIS in the months and years to come. I'm going to give you 5 reasons why it's unlikely that things are going to get better. I'm going to try to be a little bit optimistic, but I also have to give you the truth, the hard truth, and nothing but the truth. So let's get started. The first reason things aren't going to get better anytime soon at USCIS is simply the scale of the backlog. They are at historic highs. They have received a number of cases that they have not processed, and it is astronomical. We've never seen this in all of our time in practicing immigration law. There's just an overwhelming number of cases, and the simple fact that there are all these cases will prevent USCIS from being able to move forward. It's a sheer numbers game, and they are not throwing enough resources at it. And so just the fact that there is such a backlog, we're seeing cases that used to take 2, 3, or 4 months now take 18 months, 20 months, 24 months. So it is not good. It is not good at all. And our immigrant clients are all suffering because of that. The second reason we don't expect things to improve at USCIS anytime soon is the simple fact that this agency apparently does not know how to budget. I can't really understand their math. When they explain why things are not working from a financial perspective, I am left scratching my head and I say to myself, boy, they really don't know how numbers work. Well, what do you mean, Jim? Well, here's what I'm talking about. So USCIS will tell you that they are self-funded. The majority of the money that comes for operations from USCIS is in the fees that they charge for people for immigration applications. That's always been the case for as long as I've been practicing immigration law, which is about 15 years. So when the pandemic hit and when Donald Trump hit immigration, the number of applications went lower. So that means that there were less fees collected by USCIS. Now, you would think that an agency paying attention to their numbers and watching the fact that applications are going down and revenue is down would cut some of the fat, would let some people go, and would be able to be flexible and nimble and move appropriately. They apparently didn't do that at all. They didn't lay anybody off. They didn't cut any of their budget. They just kept operating as if they were getting all the same revenue that they were getting before. There was simply no one paying attention, and the bureaucratic organization that is USCIS just got fatter and fatter, and nobody did anything hard. Nobody made the hard decisions. And so now that applications have started to rise, there's this huge backlog. So I really don't understand how applications can be backlogged and they're complaining that applications went down. They are not making sense when it comes to their math, and they just basically throw up their hands, scratch their head, and say, we don't know. The third reason that my colleagues and I are not confident that there will be improvements at USCIS anytime soon is the simple fact that there is no sense of urgency. When the Trump team came in, they brought in a lot of people who really did not like immigrants, and they wanted to make real change as fast as they could. Now, those changes were bad for immigrants. They were not helpful for the agency, and they really screwed up immigration in lots of ways that we've detailed on prior videos. But the one thing that they did have was this sense of urgency, was that we might only be in power for 4 years. We might only be able to make so much change. But they change things every week in a way that the Biden team takes 6 or 7 months to change something. There's no sense of urgency in the current administration when it comes to fixing things at USCIS. There are so many things that they could dismantle and fix and make better for immigrants. And there's really just nobody sort of lighting a fire under anyone's butt and getting them to try to make these improvements. It's just sort of go along, get along, and we'll get to it when we get to it. And there's just this real sense of malaise or inactivity at USCIS. So that leaves us not very hopeful that things are going to improve. And those rules and regulations that the Trump team brought in lead us to our fourth reason why we don't think things are going to improve at USCIS. And that is that they have baked into the system that officers are taught to find fraud behind every corner. In other words, these applications are being scrutinized for fraud that does not exist. It's almost as if USCIS now treats everyone who's sitting across from the person taking the interview, that they are treating them as lying, that this application is fake, that the statements made and the evidence submitted are all fraudulent, and they operate from a position of wanting to deny the case. This causes great delays. This causes cases to get stuck because the team at USCIS is looking for fraud behind every application. They're looking in the cases, they're digging into the files, and they're looking for reasons to say no. This, by definition, takes more time than approving a case. When they approve a case, they click a box and they approve a case. When they deny a case, they have to write up a written decision as to why they are denying the case. So if they are now inclined much more so to deny more cases, that means they are having to write more decisions, and that means that the backlog is not going to go down anytime soon. And the fifth reason why we don't believe things are going to get better at USCIS is the fact that the Biden team seems to be taking a Trump Lite approach. In other words, they're saying to themselves, well, Trump was really bad for immigrants, and Trump and his team were really harsh towards immigrants. We're not going to be that bad. We're not going to be that mean. We're just going to, ratchet things down a little bit. We're going to turn down the temperature just a little bit. And the people that are currently running USCIS, they all worked in the Obama administration for the most part. They are all career civil servants. They are all people who have worked in federal government for a really long time. And they think of themselves as the good guys. They think of themselves as the ones who are not doing as much damage as prior Republican presidents, including President Trump. And so because of that, they aren't seeing things from the perspective of an immigrant. They're not seeing things that we see every day as immigration lawyers. They're not seeing how things are so slow. And because of that, because they're just sort of used to sitting in their office, filling out their paperwork, working on their budgets, going to meetings, there's not a real centralized push to make things better. And they just sort of think of themselves as, we're doing a pretty good job and things will get better eventually. And that's just not going to cut it. So at the end of the day, I hate to burst your bubble, but I don't think things are going to get better at immigration anytime soon. I do believe that they have good intentions somewhat. I think Jadu, the lady who's running USCIS at the moment, might start trying to make things better. They seem to be moving in that direction. One of the things that they've introduced is this idea of allowing people to spend more money and pay higher fees to get their cases done faster. I suppose that's an approach. It is at least an acknowledgement that the system is broken. But to me, it's just another example of how they're not getting to the root cause of the problem. They're putting on these Band-Aids and just sort of saying, well, we're going to try to make some people's cases go faster. But of course, all that'll mean is that rich people's cases will go faster than poor people's. So we don't know if at the end of the day, things are going to get much better. If you find this frustrating, here's what I want you to do. I want you to reach out to your member of Congress. I want you to call your senator, call your congressperson, and let them know that you're not happy with the way things are at USCIS. We have to start a movement. We have to start a groundswell of attention to this problem, because if we don't complain to the people making the decisions, the people who are giving money to the USCIS and who are in charge of monitoring these federal agencies, nothing real is going to change. So please take some action, do something for your fellow Americans and the immigrants they love. And if you have any questions or if you need anything, give us a call, 314-961-8200. We have our Immigration Answers live show. We go live 4 days a week, most weeks, and we try to answer as many immigration law-related questions as possible. You can find that by joining our Facebook group, which is called Immigrant Home, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll get alerted whenever we go live, and we'd love to see you there. Thanks a lot and have a great day.